Donald Trump Jr. appeared, I don't know if this, he appeared extra energetic on television earlier today in an interview. We've seen multiple videos of Donald Trump appearing under the influence of something. Could it be he was in a great mood? Perhaps. Another person who has to be under the influence of something is Jake Tapper, because Jake Tapper released an interview. I didn't realize this happened. I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff happening, and I didn't realize this happened until Lawrence O'Donnell came out against it. And I'll tell you what, I love a lot of things. The thing I love more than anything else is journalist on journalist violence, especially when it's a journalist that I respect going after one I don't respect. So what happened was Jake Tapper, I can't believe he did this. He was texting the President of the United States and considered that to be an interview. He thought because he was texting that it would directly be attributed to the president. Do you understand why that's a problem? Anyone could be on the phone. Anyone who had access to the phone. This is terrible journalism. Anyways, here's Jake Tapper being proud of it.
Points remain quite unresolved. The president answered my questions on text about his hopes for this nascent deal. I asked him, what happens if Hamas insists on staying in power in Gaza? The president said, complete obliteration. Then I said, I assume you saw that Senator Lindsey Graham interpreted Hamas's response as a rejection, since Hamas insisted on no disarmament, keeping Gaza under Palestinian control, and tying hostage release to negotiations. Is Lindsey Graham wrong? The president said, we will find out. Only time will tell. I asked him, when will you know if Hamas is truly committed or just stringing the world along? And is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on board with ending the bombing, as you called for, and whatever else you need him to do to make this peace proposal a reality? The president said yes on Bibi, soon on the rest. I said that I thought the Arab League calling on Hamas to not be part of any future leadership in Gaza, Palestine, was a remarkable step. Are they committed to seeing your plan implemented? And will they help with funding and a law enforcement presence or whatever is needed? I said I hoped peace would become a reality. The president said, I hope, and that he was working hard. I also asked the president.
Wait, sorry. I know there's a little bit left. There's 10 seconds left, but did anyone clock that, like, Jake Tapper looks like a needy, like someone who desperately wants someone to like them. Perhaps if I were dating someone who was really, really, really into me and I was just kind of like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. There's a lot of blue and a little bit of gray. Have you noticed that? Donald Trump's like, yeah, okay, yep, working hard. I hope, yep, Jake Tapper, yep.
And how do you think the government shutdown is going to end? He said, good, we are winning and cutting costs big time. I asked a few other questions on text, still waiting for a response on those, Mr. President.
Totally. He's the needy girl that desperately wants to be liked. All right, so Lawrence O'Donnell responded to that because that is journalistic malpractice. Another thing of journalistic malpractice is this. CNN had this story about the insurrection happening that Donald Trump said in Portland with this photo. Only one problem with that photo. This picture is from 1992 in LA and is using it to show a picture about Portland. That's the type of journalistic integrity we can expect from CNN. So anyways, as I said, Lawrence O'Donnell did respond to this. But before we get to that, I actually wanted to show you someone who probably would have done better over text, and that is Donald Trump Jr., because he was strung out on Newsmax yelling about Fox News.
But these things, the conservatives try so hard they want to show both sides. Now, they let someone go unfettered for hours talking about these things without anyone pushing back, without any resistance. They allow them to spew their narrative, which is, as we've seen for the last few years, all lies. But that's what happens when you have sort of a more rhino network. They want to be loved. They just want the power. They don't care. It's about clickbait. So they do that. Whereas the left, they just go full all in, no matter what. We're playing different games as always. So it's a shame to actually see that. I don't watch it anymore because it is so ridiculous. They try so hard to be unbiased that they're actually biased towards conservatives at this point. It's pretty ridiculous, but that shouldn't surprise us. ridiculous. I mean, these are networks that banned. I know I was banned for 2.5 years. I'm barely on anymore. I know my father was banned. They were doing, giving lap dances to other presidential candidates because they wanted a puppet candidate. They wanted someone that answered only to them and the people at the top. They don't get that with Trump, and they're upset about it.
Oh my Lord. I mean, I've never talked that fast before in my entire life. Now, I want to show you this because Ron Filipkowski actually saw that when Donald Trump Jr. was waiting to speak, when he was listening to the reporter ask a question, his body was doing something interesting.
The views are make legitimate the views of the Democrats' contentions that somehow this isn't about health care for illegal aliens. What do you think? It does seem they go out of their way to validate the views or make legitimate the views of the Democrats' contentions that somehow this.
Yeah, he can't stay in his body. Don't know why, but that's not someone operating normally. Sorry, it's not. Maybe he didn't get enough sleep. Now, as I said, Lawrence O'Donnell responded to Jake Tapper, and I have two clips. Here's the first one.
And so yesterday morning, CNN presented a so-called interview with CNN that they can't even prove was Donald Trump. They called it breaking news. They called it, quote, an exclusive new interview with President Trump. That's what they called it. Before the interviewer said this.
The president answered my questions on text about his hopes for this nascent deal.
What? You gave him the questions in writing? So now, instead of letting Trump hide in a phone call where we can at least know that it's him talking, Donald Trump gets to hide behind the black screen of texting? We actually have no idea who texted the replies in that so-called interview. CNN is unable to prove that Donald Trump was actually doing that texting. CNN has not revealed how long it took to get a reply to each of the 5 written questions that apparently got replies from someone who texted those replies or someone who told Donald Trump what to text in those replies. Or maybe it was from Donald Trump.
Yeah, see the problem here? Thank God for Lawrence O'Donnell. Here's what else he had to say.
Says in response to a what-if question is always meaningless. And so the insane and reckless and inhuman phrase complete obliteration is also actually meaningless because Donald Trump said it, or the person playing Donald Trump in that text game typed it. In the Sunday morning interview business, and it is a business, every time they lower their standards for Donald Trump, that becomes the new standard. And so the other Sunday morning shows, desperate to get Donald Trump, will, according to all their past practices in following each other, into decline, accept written answers from Donald Trump or a person impersonating Donald Trump in reply to their written questions to Donald Trump, and they won't tell us.
So Jake Tapper just opened up a gateway to a new fresh hell where we are expected, the President of the United States, to answer interviews over text message, and we will just have to assume that it is Donald Trump responding when we all know that Donald Trump is losing his mind. Then they would love nothing more than to stop having to have that man on camera and speaking as much as possible. Great job, Jake Tapper. Great job, Donald Trump Jr. At least Donald Trump Jr., I mean, he doesn't seem relaxed. I kind of feel like if you're going to indulge yourself, why don't you do it with something that relaxes you? He seems at like a level 11. All right, anyways, well, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'll see you next time.